walk out for lunch and they're walking around among you.
Okay, but
Have you ever gone to shake someone's hand and they've got hooves? No. It's a freak show.
well, it used to be go see the tattooed woman. Now I just go to Walmart and she's there.
She's there.
A lot of them.
You can walk.
It's the We'll Fix It in Post podcast with gnarly Charley and Rik McNeil.
3 goats and a jar of honey later, I got a promotion.
Oh, I see. That you're not telling the whole joke. You're just doing the end. Wrecked him, damn near killed him.
I didn't even know you could get milk from a porcupine.
Okay, I get it. That's too good. That's too good. And I split her too. Oh, all right. That's good stuff.
All right. It's the We'll Fix It in Post podcast, gnarly Charley and Rik McNeil, and we are on location again today.
The Tavern on the Green in Visalia, it hasn't been open more than a couple months.
Yeah, so I've eaten in this building many times, but not since the changeover. So has a lot changed here?
It has. In fact, it's got a more of an Irish bar feel to it as opposed to an 80s rock club.
Yeah, and we should tell everybody it's the old Corby's.
Yeah, it was Corby's, and now, but the one thing here though, they're really focusing on making the food less, like not so much fried something, but like kind of gourmet food. The food is a priority.
I like that. So I think that one of the best things we can do is support business on Main Street, because we have the best Main Street in all of Central California, and we've got to make sure that it continues to thrive.
Well, we should give them some more good marketing ideas. Okay, it's Tavern on the Green on Main Street, right? Green eggs and ham. Why wouldn't you have that?
Prepare for good marketing ideas, everybody.
Soylent Green. No one's doing that. And if you're like over 40, you don't know what under 40, you don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Soylent Green was a horrific movie.
What if you shave your head and become Mr. Green, the mascot?
Or what about if they sold pants and had Mr. Green jeans? Nope. Too much.
Nope.
Too much.
Not today.
All right. Totally.
Not today.
But the Tavern on the Green, they do have great food here. And,
all right.
And actually, on any given day, there's a good atmosphere. There's a bunch of local people hanging out. So it's kind of fun.
All right. So what has happened since the last time we sat down to pod?
Well, it's a pod. Is that what you called it?
I did.
Oh, we're going potty right now.
We're potty. That's good. I hope somebody finds us as amusing as we find ourselves.
You know what's funny though? I like when we last met, we were in a park and I really thought this duck was a squirrel. I could not see. I realized I might have diabetes. I really did. I swear it was a squirrel, an overweight squirrel, but it was a duck.
Yeah, you are talking to a duck as if it's a squirrel.
Oh my gosh.
And the fact that you were talking to it is even stranger.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened to me just a couple days ago. I come outside and this guy who looks like, if you saw the movie Ghost, the guy that killed Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
That guy's running, and it's like 102 outside. It's hot. And running way faster than he should be. And I looked at him, and something was nefarious. And all of a sudden, I hear sirens, like a TV show. Cop car, 5 cop cars. The cops get out, and I'm standing there and asked me a question. Where did he go? And I immediately thought, well, snitches get stitches. So I couldn't say it fast enough. He's right over there. Yeah. And I pointed, and I just
You're that
ratted him
guy.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes, you know, Hawaiian shirt? I go, no, he's a black shirt. And so but it found out it was a heavy pursuit, and they dropped off at 7-Eleven. It was, what do they call it? What is pursuit? The traffic, a car pursuit. What is it?
It's a pursuit.
A pursuit. Okay, it was a pursuit.
Yeah.
And the guy ran around 7-Eleven, jumped over fences, and I caught him. I walked outside, and he was en route to another fence.
Wow.
So anyway, but I felt like I was actually part of the show. Like it was a cop show, and I was interacting.
So when I was young, I tried to assist with a couple of pursuits twice in my life. I did.
Okay.
And I saw guns both times. I will never.
Did you know he was a pursuit at that time, or did it surprise you? Shock?
Fully informed, and I will never ever do that again. I mean, listen.
Shots fired?
Well, yes. In one of them, shots were fired. Well, okay. So I'll just tell you. So I'm going home. I can tell you that the year, or it was the early '80s, because I was on my way home from seeing Purple Rain.
Okay.
At the theater,
All right.
And so I'm on my way home, and we're turning from Clinton onto Van Ness.
Okay.
And the car in front of us runs straight into a tree. And we're like, oh my gosh. So we stop, we get out, and these guys jump out of the car, and people are coming out of their houses right there on Van Ness.
Right.
And they throw open the trunk, and they start getting all these electronics. And they're, one of them is starting to walk away. The other one is loading up his hands. And this guy comes to us, and there's three of us, and he says, hey, I'm a deputy DA. I can't let these guys just walk away. So can you assist me? And
You got deputized right there?
I was maybe 19.
And you got deputized on Van Ness.
And I thought it was badass, right?
Okay, all right.
So he steps up and he's like, no, you need to wait here. And they start running. So he starts running. So I start running. And I'm running after him. And he's in front of me. And we're running down. And we turn over on one of those side streets. And we run up toward Fresno City College, right? And all of a sudden, the guy who's in the lead throws down the equipment, pulls out a gun, turns around and starts firing down the street at me and this other guy.
At that point, did you quit your pursuit? Or
at that point, I quit my bladder is what I did. Yeah. So I immediately, headquarters were disengaging on this pursuit. I did probably, I'm lucky I wasn't killed in another way because I turned. First of all, I'm like this.
Like, what if did it hit me?
And then I run to the nearest house and the screen door is closed, but the front door is open. I grabbed it, I opened it, I went inside that house. I was running from a gun.
That's
and
scary.
There were these two ladies that were in there. And I said, someone's shooting us out there. I mean, it was just a whole mess. And they're like, and they locked the door and everything. And they're like, you're okay in here. And I was freaked out. I was a kid.
And they believed you.
I went from really tough to...
I'm scared. They're shooting at me.
To terrified, yeah.
I was in a bank robbery one time. The gun, but I didn't know I was in a bank robbery at first. I just thought the guy was being a bad customer. And I was like, look, he's got a gun. I'm like, oh my God, that's right there. Like, it turned out he took off running, whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself after, I go, I wonder what it feels like to get shot, like to be shot. Because if it goes through you, it sucks, but it's probably better. Because I was talking to this guy, his name's Richard. He used to own a bunch of bars. He got shot, right? And I asked him about it. And he said, it's the worst because he goes, it's a really hot piece of metal.
Yeah.
And it's inside you and you can't get it out.
Yeah.
And you want to, but you can't because if it's stuck in there.
Yeah. So my uncle was an emergency room nurse for years, and he and I've talked about this before. He says that everybody says the same thing: the burn is the worst, and especially bullets are so unpredictable. There was a kid who came in, and it turns out the only reason I heard this story is because I knew the kid's parents.
Okay.
And he was shot in the stomach, and it didn't go through him into his stomach. It hit his stomach. Must have been a small caliber bullet. Went around the skin, just tore all the way around the skin, lodged in his back.
Oh my God.
The strangest thing I ever heard. That's not what you hear bullets do, right?
Well, if you ever taken a what are those? They're fireworks, like a ground bloom rose. Mm-hmm. You throw that, light it toward your pool. It moves all over the place, and I assume that's what a bullet would. It's like it's just going. It's got energy, and it's going wherever it wants to go.
Note to self: we need to set up an experiment.
Shoot! I want to be shot. I really don't want to be shot. I don't even like the term shots, but I would. It would be kind of cool to say, yeah, I was shot one time.
Okay, but the point is, I will never help with a pursuit again.
So your police career ended at 19?
Back to that, absolutely. I mean, the only police interaction I want is to say good morning at Starbucks.
Well, hold on. I wonder if those two ladies that you broke into their house and they hid you, I want to hit what their version of the story is. One day we're sitting there, this 19-year-old kid comes in, scared to death.
This fat kid that smells like weed runs through the front door, and I'm lucky they didn't shoot me.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Well, because in a movie, a twisty movie, you would actually be the bad guy. That's how you got in their house.
If it was a Quentin Tarantino movie, the Gimp would be in the basement.
He would be. Bring out the Gimp. He's been shot for sure.
Okay. All right.
Okay, this is good stuff, though. Okay.
Let's look at that. I'm not sure if it's good stuff. Let's look at the box of brutal truth.
Okay, brutal truth.
We have to
answer these questions.
Answer these questions that are geared toward our career.
And no thinking. And so
in radio.
In a weird way, this is a radio, behind the scenes of radio program. That's kind of what our thinking was behind this. Like, we've done radio for a long time, and there's stuff that, it's not good for the on air because it might be a little long or it might be not right.
That's right.
Okay, we got to. It's like a fortune cookie.
We did this one last time. I'm going to throw that away. It was what song brings you back to your first year?
No
of radio?
repeats.
Yeah, no repeats. I should have thrown that away the first time.
All right.
What is the strangest request someone ever made at a remote or an appearance?
Well, there's a dirty way to say this, and then there's some other ways.
I have no doubt which way you'll say it.
Well, no, I would say one person came up to me that I didn't know him that well and said, and George Strait was coming to town and said, hey, I just need 4 George Strait tickets. I'm like, what? Like, first off, they don't just hand us rolls of tickets to give out to anybody. You'll hear us giving them out, but all that is planned and documented and scheduled, and it's not like they're my tickets to give out. That's the one thing people don't understand.
Yeah.
It just sounds like we have lots and lots of tickets.
This is a recurring theme that comes up a lot on this podcast so far.
Yeah.
You're really truly tired of people asking you for tickets.
Well, and they're not manly about it either. Like when I say that, they're like, hey, I just want to know if tickets are still available. If I don't mind paying for them.
Oh, yeah. They come at you like Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi.
But I guess why this one was worse, because the guy just said, I need 4. Like he expected me to just whip in my pocket and how many? 4?
Yeah.
Here you go. I don't even know. I almost bought a car from him. That's how he's sitting. Remember you almost bought a car from me 5 years ago? I'm like, no, I don't remember. And obviously, I would have given you the tickets if you had sold me the car.
Absolutely. You'd be backstage for tickets.
Yeah.
You know, I love when things happen that aren't supposed to happen. Like my parents were in Las Vegas one year and I'd never seen George Strait in concert, and we're having dinner before the show, and I'm going to take my dad and my sister, right? Mm-hmm. And my brother-in-law. And it just so happens that the person from George's camp heard that I was there and knew that I'd never seen George before and said to the rep, go get Rick. We want him to come back and say hi to George. And she came and she said, come on back. And I said, you know what? I haven't seen my folks for almost a year. I'm having dinner with my dad. I can't leave. And she goes, get your dad, get your brothers-in-law, get your sister. Everybody's coming right now. Just go. I'm going to pay the bill. Just go. And so the whole family went back to meet George Strait.
Wow, that is a touching story.
My dad has that. You reminded me when you asked about George Strait tickets. My dad has that picture up in his office still. It's still there.
Oh,
of him and George. And he told George what was up too. We stood in line, and George sticks out his hand, and my dad goes, "Hi, I'd like a picture with me and my son." And George says, "Okay, come on in here to me, right?"
Yeah.
And my dad goes, "No, first you and me, and then you and me and him."
Oh, he took over the meet and greet.
And George goes, "All right, Chief." And my dad took over the meet and greet. You know, that happens once in a while.
Okay, I was at a George Strait meet and greet that got shut down because a car dealer's wife thought it would be cute to grab George Strait's butt. And there's probably 40 people in line, right? And it just all of a sudden, meet and greet's over.
It's over.
Yep.
It's done.
So apparently that car dealer's wife did not understand, it wasn't you could count on us. It wasn't those people at all. It was somebody stand on their head to make you a deal. I don't know who it was, but it was nobody grabs his butt.
So this was a big thing not that long ago. A few years ago, there was a disc jockey who touched Taylor Swift in an inappropriate way at a meet and greet, and it became a big deal. The guy was fired, and the guy really leaned into it and acted like it was okay that he touched this adult woman.
Anybody should not be.
Absolutely. It is unacceptable, and he's not working in radio anymore. And
Right.
I understand he's bitter. I saw a post from him, I don't know, a few years after that. I think he's bitter. He thinks that he got canceled, and I'm like, well, no, you actually assaulted a woman is what happened.
The thing is, if, and I'm not saying he could have fixed that situation, if he's stupid enough to do that, but if he would have owned up to it, maybe.
Absolutely.
Instead of trying to
do what people do, apologize and go to rehab.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They would probably forgive you.
So, but right after that, I was backstage at the Save Mart Center, and I was taking a picture with one of my favorite Canadians, Lindsay L. and she was opening. I forget who she was opening for, but anyway, I put my arm around her, and my arm came in, my hand came in under her underarm, and I kind of brushed a little bit.
Yes.
I was terrified for a week.
You're thinking canceled.
I was like, I did not have the presence of mind to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
I just hit your side boob.
And I wasn't sure if I was overreacting anyways.
Well, but that's understandable. I mean,
Anyways, next time I saw her, I told her about it, and she was like, "That is hilarious. I don't even remember that."
well, and prior to the Taylor Swift thing, I'd met her a couple times, but then she just came out with Red, and it was her kind of her last country album. But they flew a bunch of people, radio people, to Nashville, and we all got a chance to meet her. And then there was this big meet and greet. Well, this was who's who of Nashville in this meet and greet, and Taylor sat there, and it was, I would say, probably 150 to 200 people. And as I got to take my picture with her, I just looked at her and I felt sorry for her. And I go, she's dead right now. She's not there. She's checked out. She's sitting there doing what she had to do to do the meet and greet.
Yeah.
But I just was like, there was a side of me that went, wow. And I'm one of them taking a picture with her. I'm part of the problem. Even if it's not a problem, but I don't know. I had that empathy towards, she's just a cardboard cutout right there. And
Well, so I think that over the years, like 40 years or so, we've both been in situations backstage, and there is a clear delineation between people who are who spend some quality time with you. And I would say, off the top of my head, I would say Dirk Bentley is one of them, Blake Shelton is one of them,
Yep.
Luke Bryan is one of them.
Garth Brooks is one of them.
Garth is one of them. The best quality time with any artist is with Garth.
Yeah.
But there are also people who are just like, I got to be here. I got to take a picture with you, and then we're going to go, and I'm going to smile. But it's if you're tuned into people, it's very rare you would be in a situation where somebody doesn't want to be there where you don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of something that people don't. Sometimes it's just an assembly line. It's barely even worth it, right?
Yeah. And it's the picture. But now, as AI is getting bigger and better and better, these pictures aren't so cool anymore because, like, yeah, is that real? It's probably not even real. I mean, you can actually fake it. Like,
Do you think people think that we fake those?
I think now I have a picture with Johnny Carson, and guess what? People have already asked me, how'd you do that? I go, well, he was there, and I met him.
And we both looked at the camera.
Yeah, and it was a photograph, but isn't it weird though how it's taken the value of that, just like autographs were a thing,
Yes.
and then no one cares about autographs.
That's
now.
funny.
And it's going to go away, I think. So
One of the things that I think is really important is that we always set up fencing around us.
yes, I think so. I think that's a good idea. Security, because right now we almost got just beat up. I didn't know what that was.
All right. Okay, it's time for another.
Where's our security guard?
All right. A little note we got handed from the chef here. We are not an Irish pub or bar. We are a tavern with worldwide food influences.
Worldwide.
That's right.
That's right.
I think we need a menu.
I think so. Yeah, I don't believe it. They are until I see a menu.
Could you grab a menu? Coach, way to go, Charlie.
It's not an Irish pub. Although I did see a leprechaun scurry across the floor.
Tavern Wingfluence.
Did you say wingfluence?
Wingfluence.
Oh, tell me about that. I want to hear.
Well, have you heard of wingfluencers?
No.
They're,
I've heard of influences, but not wingfluences. I'm fluent in wing. I just know this. I have mixed drinks about feelings.
there's an Irish cob on here.
A what?
There's an Irish cob on here. There's Cali chicken. There's Margarita Madness.
You know what I found out about Irish food, though? And even though this is not an Irish restaurant, stone soup, you're not supposed to eat the stone.
You are somebody who's just telling me a story about stone soup yesterday. Let's talk about some things that are coming up.
Okay, perfect.
The free concert series is about to kick off.
And this is a summer favorite, and this is exactly what it is. It's a free concert. We do them once a month. It's making it a series.
Yeah, so it's starting to look like the first show is going to be in June on the 27th. You can get all the info at kjug.com, but we've got Graylin James, new artist, coming. And we talked to Graylin when we were in Frisco. Nice guy. He's bringing a full band. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. Well, and so what's weird about all that is there was a guy named Morgan Wallen that did a free show for KJug years back. And now when you say that, it's like, oh my gosh, I missed that. Well, this is the same type of deal. Graylin could be the next Morgan Wallen. You don't know.
Yeah. So I will tell you that the people who've done free shows for us, the most free shows is George Burge. Has come to do free shows for the KJug listeners. Number 2 is Morgan Wallen, who's come to do 3.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, in fact, but George Burge is now, he's so good, it costs a little bit of money, but he's coming September 6th.
That's right. Okay, so other shows that are coming up. July 3rd, right after our Porterville free concert show, is going to be the Independent Spectacular, and there's going to be drone show again instead of the fireworks, which is really cool. If you saw it last year, Riverway Sports Park, we're going to have Mackenzie Carpenter on stage just right up until it's time for the drone show.
And she's picking up steam as far as a career, too. I'm hearing more about her and more about her.
Yeah, number 1 song with Dustin Lynch, and that is going to be on July 3rd. Then the 3rd show is going to be in Exeter, and I can't say the date because I'm really waiting for someone to say, we're...
Pull the trigger exactly what date it is. But it's in July, we know that.
Yes.
And it's after the 15th of July.
And then we're going to go to Woodlake in August, and we're going to have Dylan Schneider with his full band.
Oh, I call him Schneider Band.
Yeah.
Because he loved that. So, but Dylan Schneider with a full band is a great show.
Yeah. This is going to be a really nice year for the shows, and people are bringing their full bands, and so it's going to be kind of a new experience. And we may as well talk about the weird thing that happened with the Exeter Sun-Gazette and the Exeter City Council.
Yeah.
We picked up the paper one day and saw that we weren't doing a show in Exeter.
It had been voted no.
Right, which was a surprise to us. And so
here's the surprise, though. Hey, Rick, would you like to do something for free? No, we voted and no.
Well, so there was a sponsorship cost, and but there was never a question of whether or not we would go and do a show. And so immediately, like the next Monday, I think it was, we went out and we talked to the Chamber of Commerce and we said, hey, we want to do a show. And they're like, well, we want to do a show. The city council just is not going to be involved. And so we said, great. So we'll do a show, and everything is settled. So
yeah, so we're doing a show. So it was never even up for like.
Yeah, show is never not going to happen, and so
it was a sponsorship misunderstanding. Is what I would chalk it up to.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got the Hanford Fair. The King's Fair in Hanford is different this year.
Yeah, it's free. So basically, you remember when we used to try to sneak in with a pole vault? Well, you don't have to do that anymore.
Yep, it's absolutely free to get in.
Free.
All you have to do is pay for your parking and walk right in.
So you get dropped off. It's free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've been giving away parking passes too, and we've also been giving away
unlimited ride badges.
The wristbands. Yeah,
the wristbands. Unlimited ride wristbands.
Do you remember when we were small enough to actually go on carnival rides?
Yes, that was a long time ago.
I mean, did you used to go on the zipper?
I would go on that. What's that one? It's like a giant blender, and you get lean against the wall.
Yeah,
gravity something.
Oh, is it called the Roundup or the Roundabout or
that one? About I think I was around 26. I did that. And I didn't feel right for like 3 days.
Yeah.
That was the moment when I went, oh, maybe I'm not doing these rides like I used to.
Takes you around like a salad shooter, doesn't it?
It does.
It's weird.
And you're up against the wall and you're feeling G pressure. And like, oh.
It's hard for me in 2025 to go to fairs because I remember going in 1984 and getting an Old West cinnamon roll for $4.
Oh, yeah.
I remember getting soft tacos for $1.50 and beer rocks for $1.
Yeah, that is not happening. That price point is no longer there. It is fun to bring a couple of like bolts to get on a real high ride and kind of toss those off. And people go, hey, wait a minute. Are we missing some bolts?
Have you ever seen any terrible carnival accidents?
Yes. And then I've seen AI fake ones too. So you got to be careful with that.
Got to be careful if you go down that rabbit hole on YouTube. We're just telling you now. So big difference is when I, growing up in California, I loved going to the fairs. The fairs are ag events. They're really cool.
Right.
And I moved to Las Vegas where everything is a carnival, right?
Oh, that's true.
I was there for years and years. And the state fair was way out of town. I never went to it in 16 years of living in Las Vegas. And then I moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and I worked in Mississippi. And back there, the fair is not so much a fair, it's American Horror Story Freak Show.
Oh.
I might go to see the prize pig at the Tulare County Fair. I might go to see a cow made of butter. But in Tennessee, you go to the fair, you're there to see the nun with 3 heads.
Oh, so it's a little more novelty thing.
You're there to see the kid with a snake tongue. Yeah, it's a freak show.
Snake boy.
It's freaky.
Oh, see, I like that kind of stuff. I like the. Well,
You gotta watch. You gotta be careful because some of those freaks they clock out for lunch and they're walking around among you.
Okay, but
Have you ever gone to shake someone's hand and they've got hooves? No, it's a freak show.
well, it used to be go see the tattooed woman. Now I just go to Walmart and she's there.
She's there.
A lot of them.
You can walk through our building if you want to see the tattooed woman.
Okay. When you go to the fair, though, I could go to Walmart and see a stuffed animal for $20, $10, and I will never buy it. But if I go to a fair and I see that same stuffed animal, I will spend $140 to try to win that thing and not do it.
Yep. Hey, I've got a fair story. Somebody I knew ran away with a carny once.
Nice.
From the Fresno Fair, yeah. I mean, she met up with him, and he belonged in Tennessee. He was a freak, right? But he was working one of those booths. And so she got to know him. Then she started, next time I was down on the Midway, she's working the booth with him. And then next thing I know, they've left town to go to wherever the fair goes next.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When I worked at a rock station in Fresno, KKDJ, we had a marriage at the fair, and we did it on one of those. It looks like a choir loft, but it goes up in a circle, and it's like everybody sits in this thing, and we did it on the ride. We did the wedding, and married a couple from the radio.
No kidding.
On the ride, during the ride, and it broadcast the whole thing. I'm thinking maybe we should do that this year. I'm ordained.
That's interesting.
Maybe we should have a marriage at the King's Fair.
All right.
On a ride.
Okay.
On the camel ride.
We can't even get someone to show up for a Father's Day contest.
That's true. That's
frack
true.
are you talking about?
That's true, yeah. You're right.
It was a fun Father's Day week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You know, it's bittersweet for me, you, and some other guys at the station that don't have their dad. And yet, I still think, you know what? It's Father's Day, man. You got to, as much as I miss my dad, everyone is celebrated. And as your dad is here, celebrate him, because at some point, he's not going to be here.
Absolutely. I was telling my sister last night, we've been talking about my dad a lot. We've been talking about how we're going to get our mom ready for this weekend, you know. And I feel closer to my dad than I have in a long time. I feel really okay.
Yeah.
Father's Day, I'll probably be a mess, but this week is pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Not what I expected.
I always have to lock my door and close my shades on Father's Day because I don't know who's going to show up. Like, it looks like another one. I am not your father.
Okay, so I was a part of a marriage one time on the air. We found somebody that we wanted to get married on Valentine's Day.
Right.
We did it in the studio, and it was these two people. And a few months later, we found out that they were pregnant, and it was me and Lorraine, Rik and
Right.
Lorraine
Yeah.
B95. And they decided that they were going to name their child after whichever, if it was a boy, it was going to be
Rik or Lorraine?
Rik, it was going to be Lorraine.
Wow.
And it was
Lorraine.
a Lorraine.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a little Lorraine running around here somewhere.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Actually, that little Lorraine's probably like 26, 27 years old.
Wow.
But that's the only time we flirted with marriage. And then we found out they were going to name the kid after us. We both freaked out. I was like, I hope it's a girl. She's like, I hope it's a guy. I don't want this responsibility.
I don't want the responsibility.
She's like,
do you get weekend visitations or
do I
anything?
have to, am I responsible for any college stuff? Or, you know?
Okay, so I've done probably maybe 35 weddings. I've done a lot, you know. But recently, they're getting divorced. I'm like, I had a really good record. They were still married. The very first one was a pharmacist from Reedley, and he married. It was a Japanese guy and a white girl, and they stayed together, and they're wonderful. Then I started marrying these people, and they're getting divorced left and right. And I'm like, man,
I could have told you, reach out to the clergy, not gnarly frickin' Charlie.
exactly. That's the best way to do it, probably. Well, and then I'm like, after some of the weddings, somebody come up to me and go, man, I'd really like to go to your church. I'm like, oh, I just do ceremonies. They don't allow this at church.
You'd be surprised at where I find myself Sunday mornings.
The church is wherever the people are. This is a church service right now, Rick.
My church is in my heart.
That's right. Remember the people, the steeple, they got all the people or something to that effect? I don't know. All right, so we've got the fairs coming up, and this is the start of the fair season.
Are we missing the mojo today?
Yeah, there's a little bit. There's a lack of
missing the mojo.
There's a lack of mo, but as long as we just don't bring it up and don't point it out, remember we're gonna fix this in post. That's what we do.
All right, we're gonna fix it in post, and we're gonna have a podcast that is approximately 6 minutes long.
That's kind of pushing it.
Have you ever dated a listener?
Yeah, and what happens is eventually you break up and you lose a P1 listener, and then they hate you, and then I've had to get a restraining order against a few listeners.
Okay, so we all know there's people who in radio who only date listeners, right?
Right.
And we might as well just say it. I don't feel like this is nice, but I'm going to say it anyways. People that do that pretty much cannot get a date otherwise. I always feel like they're getting a date because they're on the radio,
right.
And I think it's lazy, and I think it's stupid, and I think that's not a reason to date someone.
I remember the first time I ever did like at nights by myself, and I was so excited. And this girl calls, and I ended up talking to her for hours, right? I should have realized that there's a reason she's so available, you know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to meet her.
So are you telling me? Because, I mean, this is the box of ugly truth. Are you telling me you've never met a listener that called you on the request line?
Oh, no, I met him, and I kept driving.
You never stopped?
Didn't stop.
Never once. Charley.
Oh, no, I have. No,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, all right.
But I'm saying...
Okay, so there's this other thing, and that is that dating a listener long term might be different from hooking up with a listener.
Right.
Because people hook up.
Well, and it depends if you're at events and things like that, and, you know, like bar nights when it's like a weekly thing at a certain bar for a period of 3 or 4 months, you get to know people.
You do, right.
And then it becomes like, it's different then.
And a lot of us started working nights and we were kids,
Yeah.
right? So you're not always the most respectful person. You don't always make the best choices. I remember the first time a listener called me and wanted to come down and say hi. She cooked a whole basket of chicken, man. I was like, every time I'm on the air, you can bring this chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, if a listener brings food, do you eat it?
No, I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm scared too.
I remember the first time I was at a station, I was just a setup guy, and there was a remote, and I had never been to a radio room. I didn't know anything about it. And it was going to be 7-Eleven, and they were doing a thing with oil for all things. Like they were selling oil at 7-Eleven. Anyway, in my mind, I thought there was going to be thousands of people, and we were going to pull up, and the crowd would have to move. And I had no idea that nobody cared, and it's really lame. And we had to hang a sign, and then it was just weird. I guess I thought it was gonna be like crowds of people shouting, "KK DJ, KK." No, nobody was there. Nobody
Doesn't
cared.
happen anymore, does it?
No, not at all.
And probably because you did what I did. When I was a kid, I would go to a radio remote, and it was a big deal for me to go meet the disc jockey and.
Oh. Yeah, but that's gone away.
Here we are, 2025. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Hey, we got face paint and hot dogs. Come on down.
All right. So, ever meet a listener and it just was a nightmare? Like, oh my God, what have I got myself into?
Yeah, and then you feel like.
How is Gina, by the way?
Well, she's calling right now. It's funny you say that. No, that's one thing. Okay, I'm dating her. She could care less about the radio, and I have dated people that said they could care less, but they did care, and that's all they wanted.
Yeah, they care.
Yeah, and
you want to find out if somebody you're dating cares about the radio thing? Try telling them for the first time you're going to a concert and they're not going.
Right. That always goes over well.
Yep.
And Gina's like, she knows if it's an event that I'm going to be talking to people, and she's going to be sitting in the corner. So unless she's bringing someone, she don't even want to go.
Yeah.
Which I understand. I completely understand that, you know. But, you know.
I love that. The first time I was in a relationship and I said, hey, I've got to go to this concert tonight, and heard, Okay, have fun. I was like, this is a keeper.
Yeah.
This is great.
This is perfect. You can stay.
All right. So this summer, we've been talking about doing something that we're pretty excited about. And that is we have a long history of overcrowded shelters, right?
Right.
And every year we...
Dog shelters.
Dog shelters. Thank you. We try to figure out what we can do. And we just decided this summer that 106.7 KJug Country is going to work to get at least 106.7 if we can get...
There's a three-legged dog out there.
Yeah,
we're going to help.
we can get that dog adopted too. We want 106 dogs to find a home this summer, and we are going to show you the dogs all summer long, and we can't wait to unveil this to you because we're going to make it super easy for you.
And I think as a dog owner and lover, there's people I know that said, I'm never getting another dog. But, yes, we wish they lived longer. But, man, those 10 years or 7 years that you get with them, it's a game changer.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. They become your absolute best friend if you're a dog person.
Right.
I played for Oriana a song the other day. It was Roman Alexander. It was a guy who was going to be up at Napa when I was there.
Yeah.
And he has a song, First Things First. I forget what it's called. But anyway, it's the song. He's like, it's about when he gets to heaven. And he's talking about, I want to see my relatives. I want to see the people that are important to me and blah, 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 blah. And in the chorus, he goes, but first, can I see my dog? And I was just like,
wow.
It just was like a gut punch, right? It's a great song.
Well, okay. And along those lines, I think about, Buster, Harper. I've had these dogs and I think about them all the time, you know? And I hope they think about me too, and I hope they get to go. They got to be in heaven. They got it. There was a Robin Williams movie. All dogs go to heaven.
That's right. But before they get there, we want them to find a home. And so we're going to work really hard this summer to make that happen. And details are at kjug.com.
420. Guess instead of H2O, 420.
420. I feel like there's something I should get out of this.
Well, what it is, it's extra. Well, it's alkaline, right?
Oh, here it is. 4 times purified.
Purified. 4 times purified. It's water, but more than water, it's dope pH. And that's not an actual drug. It's just saying the pH is way high. And that's what makes cancer cells have a hard time when your pH levels are up living.
I can never tell when you're bullshitting.
No, it's true. That is a true statement.
Okay.
So I've been through cancer. I know that. Like, I didn't have it myself. But I know people that did.
All right.
And the doctors always says pH levels. So this is 8.5. 8.5, according to Tommy.
Okay.
Over there. Tommy says. It hits the stores next week.
This is a preview bottle? This is not in the stores yet?
No, next week. Bueno Beverage.
Right.
I like them.
That's what I like.